Welcome to the Salt Circle Podcast. My name is Hank. With me in this hellscape is Ben.
Sup?
Yo.
Banger of an intro.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
can't all be winners.
yeah. So for this week, we're talking about the 1997 anime, Berserk. Specifically that version.
Finally.
'Cause I don't know the other versions.
Someone finally watched it. Oh, I'm so happy.
Yeah, you should ask me how much I liked it.
What are your thoughts? Generally, kinda.
Didn't really care for it.
That's fair.
It kind of lost me at episode 11 specifically. Mostly when it became so much about rape and the way it treats Keska as a female character, I wasn't into it. And it kind of took away from any of the other stuff that I thought was pretty cool. Like episode 24.
Oh no. Okay, so 11. Because I don't know exactly which one's which. So that is where she has the fever.
Yes.
Okay. I guess I could see that. I interpreted that a very specific way, but I don't know. I don't want to like sit here in silence and like reevaluate it, but
Yeah.
I can see where you're coming from. Cause
work our way up to it also.
yeah. So I
I
guess
just
like
wanted
up
to
and,
get that out there. That was kind of where the show turned for me,
sure.
which was annoying because that was like up to that was sort of when I was really starting to get into it, and then it undid the work it had done for itself for me. So
Sure.
because I have different problems with the start of the show, just minor issues, which is mostly that the characters like don't ever seem like friends, which then after that kind of arc they do, but then other stuff has come up. So I wish it's
Yeah.
like that arc is doing work that needed to be done, but I think that arc takes too long and it does stuff that annoyed me more than like you could have gotten there in a different way, I would say.
Yeah. So I mean, like first episode initial impressions, because that's the one that's like, it starts after everything, and then you get the little,
so that's weird. So honestly, the deeper we got into the series, where I was like, oh, we're not actually just gonna get back to this, was like the less I liked it, just because I thought that was in a lot of ways a really good first episode theoretically, in that it established a lot of stuff without exposition. Because in a lot of anime, one of the problems with first episodes is they overload you with exposition on shit you don't care about yet, because it's the
thinking
first fucking episode.
straight to Sword Art Online. Episode 1, first 15 minutes, there was a game, and then it's just fucking No, I hear you.
I'm thinking of anime much worse than that, but sure.
Worse than Sword Art Online. Okay.
Again, I like Sword Art Online for the first arc, and then it's terrible.
No, agreed. After that,
Then it feels like fan fiction, like really bad self-insert fan fiction. But yeah, like the way it's just, it establishes stuff like his curse, the sword, the demon stuff, just like all by showing you stuff happening.
yeah,
That I all thought was good. I found it funny that he was basically fighting Serpentor from G.I. Joe. I liked that it was like the setup of that first episode is like classic Western bullshit.
Just
of the
just rolls into
the
the
man with no
fucking
name
tavern.
rolls into the shit town in the tavern. Like, that's all classic.
Tell your master the black swordsman is here.
Yeah. Like, it's not like original, but it's classic for a reason. Like,
Yeah.
that stuff works. But we never get back to that at all, and it becomes annoying eventually.
Yeah, no, they yeah, there's you never even like get that far, and it's I think so. I was surprised. I knew that there's the manga obviously,
Yeah.
and I thought this was like the first arc, and it is not. Like the
Yeah.
manga does the same thing, but you have like a whole lot of shit, like almost enough to be another series of this anime. And then it does the flashback. So it's like they decided to do that, but only one episode. And it's like
Berserk hasn't Berserk not even ended yet? The manga?
no, it's still going.
It's just
Lots
still
of
going
lots
on.
of hiatuses.
Yeah,
Like dude
well,
will
yeah.
just rip off for
That's
like
just-
8 months.
Yeah, it's what he'll do it when he feels like it. But yeah, so I find some of their choices. I find a lot of their choices and how they chose to adapt this weird. I would say,
Okay.
like well, and just in terms of like this is the amount of story we're gonna cover, and that this is the story we're gonna cover, and this is how long we're gonna take to cover it.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I kind of get it in terms of this arc of establishing him in some ways reads like a complete story. But it's also just not the core of what I think the series is, even just from watching this anime. Like, there's
No.
not nearly enough of the demon shit.
Yeah, no. I think it's like at this point it is definitely like the minor. There's a reason why it's called the golden arc.
Yeah.
Like it's this, and then on either side it's just shit storms
Yeah.
of demon hordes. But I think it does it, at least for me, it did a very good job of like drawing me in. I was like, yeah, like it's these mercenaries and they're fighting and they're like making their way in the world, and I really got into that aspect of everything. So by the time you hit the end, I was like, I need to know though. I need to. Why'd you stop here?
Yeah. Yeah, so for me, like, what brings me into characters is interaction between them. Nothing about, like, and they're just, the interactions between the characters, particularly for the first 10 episodes, is not strong enough for me.
Okay.
Like Casca's always bitchy. Most of my notes that I took are that how much fucking Korvax sucks. Corcus.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
like
no,
I'm
he's
even
like-
in like episode fucking 19. I'm like, my only note is fucking Corcus.
Yeah.
Episode 23, God, Corcus sucks. That's my note. I just hated that guy. He's such... And you do get some better characterization, and Gutsy like warms up to people later on, like after by episode 15 or whatever. But there was not enough of that early. So I was like not super in. I was like, this is well made. This is definitely very good, but I'm not super invested yet. Was where I was in the early arc, I would say.
Yeah. So, what I think is hilarious about you saying that, and I didn't know this, I just read it when I was looking up the episode list, is that it says the themes of friendship are more developed in the anime. So which I'm
Yeah.
like thinking about it, I'm like, that kind of makes sense. But
Yeah, no, I mean, if it's
No,
more
it's
about the demon hunting also, like,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. But the really, so one of the things this anime made me think of is like Naruto, honestly. Like the
Okay.
arc of the way the friendship works in this is pretty similar to the way it works in Naruto, except I think Naruto does it better, honestly. But it's a very different thing, um, in terms of like the tone of stuff. But
Yeah.
there are more similarities. I wouldn't be surprised if the writer of Naruto would watch this anime. I would say.
Okay. So, one of the early scenes that's just absolute top tier is the naked water fight between Griffith and Guts. Just absolute, like, I saw that and I was like, this is good. I should continue this. And is it Casca? Is Casca the one who's like watching him like, you guys? Someone sees him. I think it's Casca. I don't know.
I don't remember who's watching them.
Just a great little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
I like the first guy that young Guts kills. It's like the guy who's like if in full armor and has like mittens. So his like armor goes into his axe. That's good armor.
Yeah, no, that was some good stuff.
First sign that I wasn't also in episode 2 though. First sign that I was gonna have a bad time was after Griffin beats Guts. And then the part where when he's asleep, Griffin makes Keska sleep next to him.
Yeah.
Because with the line, it's a woman's duty to warm a man.
Yeah.
Like, the fuck. Come on.
What's the thing? I mean,
It
you know,
was
Griffith's
dumb.
a piece of shit, though. He's not the one you should be looking to for moral, guidance.
I mean, it's true, except that Guts does. Guts decides his whole, like, philosophy of life because of a thing he overhears Griffith say to someone else.
Yeah. But
His whole idea of friendship comes out of that.
yeah. I don't know. Which, like, see, I'm like being friends because you need, like, being or not being friends. There we go. Because someone else is like, because Guts is like following Griffith's dream and like doesn't have a dream of his own.
Yeah.
Like, that's a shitty thing on Griffith's end. But I think it's good that, like, it's good from Guts' perspective because, like, the dude finally is like, yo, I can have my own dreams. Like, I don't want to just, like, follow you all the time.
The idea of getting out of someone's shadow,
Yeah.
like not wanting to live in your friendship shadows, that's also super in Naruto. That's like with the Naruto thing, honestly, of like why Sasuke goes evil partially. That's the same thing. And that's a fine idea. Like you can you could build stuff around that. I don't have a problem with that. I'm just saying that idea doesn't even come from Guts himself. He just takes that from Griffin.
Yeah. Look, he has a big sword, not a big brain.
Well, that's sort of what I mean. Like the show, all I want from the show is violence because that's what it's good at, and it's less good at drama because it keeps doing bullshit. And I wish it were more of, which sounds like what the manga is of.
Yeah.
Just fucking up demons.
I will say, as far as, like, I didn't want to talk about the manga too much because it's like, it's a whole different thing.
It's a whole
But
different thing. You're right.
if you want more violence and more, like, characterization, maybe do up the manga. Like, there's actually a lot more of that with, like, I guess it's one of those things, like, I don't know. I don't have any comparisons to make between, like, any other long-running anime or manga because I don't do it, but so I don't know whether the length of time it takes to, like, get to a point of, like, yo, Guts isn't just, like, a lone demon slayer. Like, there's some development and he meets some people, but I don't know if that length of time is worth the investment or not, or if it's normal or longer.
Yeah.
So,
And I'll say the length of investment in Naruto, not worth it. It takes way too long for anything to fucking happen in that thing. So,
yeah.
So I'm like criticizing this for taking too long. Naruto takes like 10 billion years. It's not comparable. It's partial. Like if I had watched this earlier in my life or something, I probably would like it more. But coming to it now, these are my problems with it.
Oh,
as something
yeah,
I don't have
sure.
any nostalgia for at all.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. I guess when I started it and watched it, I was like just in the right headspace, and everything it did, I was like, holy fuck, this is the great guy. Why has nobody told me about this? This is fantastic. Like, I was just doing it up. So
Also, just don't forget Dan, okay? Don't forget Dan.
Which Dan?
He's one of the hawks that Guts killed when they attacked him.
Oh,
when they're
you know what?
After they let Guts into the group, Cork is like twice is like, don't forget he killed Dan, guys.
You know what?
He killed Dan.
I forgot Dan. 100 fucking %.
Don't forget about Dan.
Dan is dead,
Dan.
literally and figuratively.
Everybody forgot Dan. Even Corcus, he stopped talking about Dan, although he did never forgive Guts.
Yeah.
Even though that was totally his fault. God, he was such a piece of shit. He's like, come on, let's go get that guy. All right, you guys go fight him. I'm not. Nope.
So
what a bitch.
I think is it like the episode? No, 2 episodes. So there's the episode where Casca has the fever because like she's on her period, right? Like she's that time of the month or whatever.
Yep.
And falls off the cliff, and then we get the episode of like, just that shit. All that stuff.
So Guts strips her naked, then lies next to her to keep her warm, and then we get a flashback about Griffith.
So yeah, Griffith,
and also
saved her
Casca, also her how she met him.
Yeah, and he saved her from
being
raped as a kid, which is ironic. And then bangs an old dude.
Yep.
So
and then he cuts himself talking about it, saying how it doesn't bother him.
Well, two unrelated.
Honestly,
things.
that was definitely the part of it that bothered me the most, was when he was like cutting all his arms open. Like, Jesus, show.
Yeah.
My main problem with it is how many episodes they spend on it, and like it's just unpleasant, and it's like, why do we need to spend? Why is this important? Why am I watching this? Like it made me just want to stop watching, which is the way that stuff usually goes for me now. The sexual violence stuff, it makes me way less invested because I no longer trust the creators to.
Wait, which stuff?
Like in general, like rape, sexual violence stuff.
Gotcha.
Because I like physical violence a lot in fiction, because it's cathartic to me, and it like sexual violence is generally the opposite. So there's a lot of that in this, and it just bums me out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Particularly because I don't think this handles it particularly well. Like, it's generally there to make Guts mad. It's like, you could have other ways to make Guts mad, guys. He's an angry dude. He doesn't really need a reason to kill things.
Yeah. So, the episode after all of this unnecessary backstory, 100 Men in One Night, top tier episode. Peter had the funniest quip. Actually, just straight up, like, as far as quips that I've heard, it's way up there. definitely the best thing Peter has ever said. Just like off the top of his head in the heat of the moment. Dude rolls up Adon Korbolwitz or whatever. Like the dude is always running away, which is fantastic. Rolls up, he's like something about like, I'm the assistant commander, and Peter's like assistant to the commander. And just fucking lost it. Like, was not expecting it at all. Had never made the connection. It was perfect. Absolute best. He hasn't topped it.
I'm trying to figure out which episode is which based on my notes. But I think the problem was the episode before that episode was where my notes just say, fuck this, I'm so done.
Episode
which
before
was episode 13. Before the one where he finally gets just to murder 100 people.
Episode 13 is that one, yeah. Oh, because, the guy's attempt to rape Casca.
Yeah. Yes, it's like another sexual attack.
Yeah.
I just like, they just pile it on over and over and over and over and over. Every time I thought we were done. Every time I thought we could move on with our lives, they did it again. And part of it was, so part of what makes that so brutal to me is like, it starts with Casca and Adon, they're like facing off, and Adon is being real shitty.
Yeah.
Like super sexist and yelling at her. And like that, you can only do that as a show if she gets to murder the shit out of him. And it takes 5 episodes till she gets to murder the shit out of him.
Yeah.
It's too long. That's too long. That was too much time in between that scene and her getting to murder him.
Yeah, well, that's totally
And that
fair.
was the inevitable outcome that I was waiting for. And I'm like, the fuck? like every time Guts stepped in to help her, I was pissed.
Yeah.
Like every time it's like just more, it's like cockblocking on the thing I actually want, which is for her to kill that asshole. Because that's the thing that needs to happen.
Oh, yeah, no, totally. But she's a girl.
She's a girl, though. You guys. Man.
Yeah.
It's brutal. It's brutal for me.
So
Brutal for me. Because I've seen a bunch of anime that have done the girl being a knight. Like, my favorite anime is about a girl who's saved by a prince and decides to become a prince, and it's fucking great. And it's just, there's even older, like, this is not even this is a pretty old idea in anime. Anime and manga have well trodden that territory.
yeah.
Like, back to the, like, Princess Knight is 60s, I think. Which is by the guy who created Astro Boy, which is like the earliest example of it I can think of.
Okay.
And that's, it's a girl who was accidentally born with the heart of a boy because a cherub fucked up.
Yeah, naturally.
But even that, like, 60s version of that was better than this.
Yeah.
So I was pretty frustrated.
That's fair.
Because I actually think she's a good character. It's just the show never treats her fairly.
Yeah.
It's that exact kind of late 90s strong female character thing where it's like, we'll have our strong female character, but we'll just use that as an excuse to shit on her constantly and never actually let her do anything cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very of the era, I'd say.
That sounds right. I actually got my order mixed up here. I thought this episode came after that, but the stuff with Nosferatu Zod, the only like demon guy,
Yeah.
That tease though.
That was good.
sees
That was what the show should have been
yeah,
for.
sees Griffith's little thing like, whoa, okay, I'm out. Fuck this. Don't let his dream die, Guts. Peace. Like,
Yeah.
I really thought that we would they would introduce. I thought it was gonna ramp up. Like, I thought there was gonna be like more shit happening instead of the like, I don't know, demon. It's just a big old demon cum shot. That's what it is. Right at the end.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
I was trying to think of like a more tactful analogy, and I just can't.
Yeah, because again, I'm just like by episode 6, I feel like I'm waiting for the shoe to drop with the demon stuff. Like, I'm really like, okay, where's it going?
Yeah.
When's this gonna happen? We've established this fucking demon necklace he's got that's gonna make him king, but it's clearly gonna be a curse and make him evil. Like,
yeah.
Like it's too clear what's gonna happen, because I guess probably partly because this is written in the middle of the fucking story. It's not like this is but and then it just takes too long to get there, and what it fills the time with didn't need to be there. Like, we just didn't need a lot of that stuff.
See, I had like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes suspension of disbelief is not I guess obliviousness. Like, by the time I was like partway through the series, I had already like not literally forgotten about the first episode, but just was like, I kind of like let my guard down a bit. I was like, yeah, something bad happens, but like, also we're here now. I haven't mentioned any of this.
I mean, also it's because the thing I knew about this show was just that it ends at,
well, yeah,
that like the worst, super low moment. I didn't know the detail. That turned out to be much worse than I thought it was, and more horseshit, but than I thought it was. But I knew, I kind of knew that was where we were headed.
And see, I really didn't like it all, especially like my first time. Obviously, after the first time, like, you don't forget that shit. Yeah. But no. But I was like, obviously, from the first episode, you're like, okay, like, someone named Griffith did a bunch of shit. And based on what the rest of the show was, I'm like, I guess I didn't connect it that, like, oh, he has to do with the demonic bullshit. Because based on the rest of the show is pretty much just like an army mercenary, like, fairly realistic with some exception things. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, he like betrays them and they're all mercenaries and stuff, like something like that. It's, it was more than that.
Yeah. I feel like the demon necklace is pretty telling.
Well, yeah. But
because there's the first scene where you get it, which is the scene where they are having their water fight naked.
Yeah.
And then there's when he gets assassinated and the necklace blocks the arrow. You're like, yeah, no, this is definitely a thing. If you had forgotten that this was a thing, this is a thing.
Yeah. So the bits with Guts basically being Griffith's like political assassin. Kind of bullshit.
I was just like, Guts seems like a terrible choice for a stealth assassin.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, let me pick my biggest dude with the biggest sword and have him go, like, stealthily kill people.
I thought, like, he jumps in there and, like, just murders everyone, including... I thought him murdering the kid would have been a bigger thing, but it's...
Yeah.
They drop it immediately.
That kid,
and it's super weird because they establish it that like that kid's like relationship with his father is like parallel to Guts's relationship with his pseudo dad. What is his name? Corbin.
Sure. Why not?
It's something. Whatever. The guy who basically raised Guts, and then Guts had to kill because he tried to kill him in his sleep. But you know, father stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then just like nothing came of that. It was weird. I was surprised that they've spent all that time on that stuff and then really nothing came. Like nothing. There was no even like backlash against using Guts as a stealth assassin. It was fine.
Yeah.
No, he's a good stealth assassin.
Yeah. I mean the bit where they trick the queen and everybody else.
That was good.
Like that was a good bit. I wasn't sure where it was gonna go, and then suddenly fucking burning down the house.
Yeah, I liked the at court stuff because it was partially reminded me of Rose of Versailles bullshit, and just I like characters having complicated plans and enacting them.
Yes, plans are fun.
Like Death Note and Code Geass are two.
I mean, really, when you think about it,
that do that.
Griffith had a plan, and he enacted on it.
Yeah, until he got sad that Guts left, so he went and fucked the king's daughter for no reason. That was brutal because he fucks his own plan so hard just because he's sad.
So, I actually that scene when he gets caught always fucking confuses me because the maid or whoever sees him through the door.
Yeah.
And like, okay, so the maid says this and immediately it's true and there's like people fucking waiting for him. Like, that's meh. I don't know why they changed the scene from the manga because it makes way more fucking sense. Like, I forget if the maid sees them again or not, but the king like really likes Griffith at this point. Like,
yeah,
he's on perfect terms with him. So he's like, "The fuck did you just say? Like, don't talk that way about #1 army guy." And he still has to like follow up on it. So it bursts into his daughter's bedroom, and she's like saying it's not true and all this other stuff. And like he's starting to like believe her, and then he sees like some blood on the sheets because she was a virgin or whatever. Yeah. So that gives it away, and I'm like, this makes so much more sense than Griffith fucking hopping out the window to like 100 soldiers. So
I guess vagina blood was one step too far for the anime.
Talking about vagina blood is okay. Implying that it exists is okay, but
showing it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a step. Well, you know what? No, fuck that. Up in the last episode, no, fuck that. One step too far. Get the hell out of here. Fucking guy.
I mean, I don't have another explanation.
Yeah.
I'm just saying maybe it was weird censorship.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fucking bizarre given most of the content of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's the part with when they go on the hunting party, and Griffith is teaching the princess how to blow in the leaves. Mm-hmm. The fucking whistling sound coming out of it is so bad.
I can't recall it perfectly, honestly.
Like,
I'll have to look it up.
It's fucking weird. It just sounds super weird.
Compare it to a sound.
It's the piddliest. It doesn't like hit a full whistle. It's the, like
so
super
it's like
piddly.
Just got the
and
people
she is
up
like
on mic.
She is like into it. She is horny for this.
Yeah, no, that I remember. She's like, holy shit, and she just, she blew all night long, you know.
I thought of Lauren Bacall saying, "You do know how to whistle, don't you? You put your lips together and blow." It's just like that scene from Alien Covenant where Michael Fassbender gets himself to play the flute he does the fingering.
Great. So we get post Crazy Griffith. I don't know. I think the episode after, like where it's a year later or whatever, and he's in with the swordsmith, like I thought that one was kind of boring.
Well, you skipped over the desert attack.
Did I? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. We're like
Because
jumping
that's
around.
that's like the last mission that Guts goes on with them, because that's the final
like before everything,
fight of the
right,
war.
yeah.
Where Griffith gets his revenge on the old dude he prostituted himself to.
Is it revenge if Griffith doesn't care?
He says he doesn't care. He definitely cares.
I don't know, dude.
Dude, he cut his arms open talking about it. He 100% cares. That is a front. He is mad about that. He's mad. He's probably mad at himself that he did that.
Yeah, or mad that he... Yeah. That probably is the...
It's not like he necessarily does have any particular feelings for that dude. It's more the thing that happened.
The bang.
Yeah. What you will.
I think that
More.
like that whole battle in that episode, like the desert one, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
There's
Again,
some good shit and
it was a
tactics
good plan.
and
Like
yeah,
like when the show also let it just be about Griffith
military
enacting
tactics.
a plan. Yeah, military tactics. I was also in. That stuff was good. Also, with like the hunting party stuff was just reminding me of like, it was like when I was thinking of like, this part of the show, like it was reminding me of War and Peace. Just like there's like the idea of, I like wish the show was more about war, but it's just not. Like for all the war stuff that is in this, it doesn't have it's not about war. There's just things that happen to happen.
Yeah.
Before, like, that lead us on the way to demons. It's like, I wish if you were gonna just make the show so much the military stuff, I wish it could have like had a point, been about war.
Yeah.
In the way that Naruto is about war. I mean, I think Naruto is better about being about war than Game of Thrones is. That was the other thing I was thinking about.
Imagine if Naruto had like, you know, the series finale after like 2,000 episodes, last one, and suddenly pink hair girl is in like a casket situation in the end of Berserk. Like, damn, they really did like Berserk.
No, that'd be bad. But look, all I'm saying is Naruto, one of its final climaxes, is in a nightmare hellscape because of demon magic.
Yeah, it sounded like Naruto is just bad Berserk with extra steps.
Well, it's for
a lot of extra steps.
Less R-rated.
Yeah,
less R-rated. Look, they use the move Planetary Annihilation like 8 times.
Do any planets get annihilated?
No.
So that's beyond disappointing. So, I think out of everything that actually, you know, not even just in this anime, maybe in any anime, Griffith, after they rescue him, and he's like all the, you know, he's all nasty,
all fucked up.
Like
they
have
neglected to mention what happened to his dick, or his balls. They just don't talk about it.
Yeah, I have a hard time with like that whole little bit. Like, I do not do well with those things. Just like any of that like torture imagery or anything. And one time I was on 4chan So, like mistakes are already kind of made.
Okay.
But,
Yep.
being the edgy teenager that I was, I did not participate, but I looked at a thread that was like, post the most fucked up, like, I forget if it was thing in general or like sexual thing. People were doing both, maybe just the sexual thing, I guess, to a certain extent. Anything is sexual to somebody. But someone posted a picture that, like, compared to the others, looked fairly clean, except it was an anorexic person. And that was the grossest thing I saw. And that, like, haunts me. So, like, seeing Griffith, I was like, just did not want.
Yeah,
like, I do not like that imagery at all. Zero desire.
Yeah.
Which actually kind of, it's sometimes bad in real life because, like, some people are just, like, super, super thin and they can't do anything about it. And I'm like, I can't look at you. I'm sorry. Gotta turn away. But, yeah, that whole thing just... out of everything. That's the part of the show that gets me. And in the manga, too, like... That's still the worst part. It's because the manga, they ain't holding back. They're not trying to broadcast this, so it's even worse.
Again, it's like that's just what that goes. That's what that dude is into drawing. It's fucked up shit.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't say I was like thrilled about, but it didn't bother me that much. It's like, yep, that's horrible.
Though, as soon as when he's initially taken,
this is like legitimately tortured? What would happen if someone were tortured like this, but like there's a reason other fiction wouldn't do this, wouldn't go this far.
Yeah. I did know, like, even just the first time, like, finally all kind of clicked that it was like, all this is really going down because he loses his little behelit, his egg.
Yeah.
And as soon as he loses, I'm like, that shit's coming back. That's gonna fucking like appear in his pocket or some bullshit.
I think it's hilarious he was still wearing it at that point.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
you can't take it off.
Yes, you can. No, let's strip him naked, but leave his necklace.
Yeah. Also, poor fucking... what's his name now? Who, like, comes back to the camp. And he's like, guys, hey, hello. And everybody's just gone. Fucking rip. Dude had a time of it.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, 20, that was episode 22 out of 25. And I believe I was watching it on a work night when I was working full time. And it was like, I think that's the one that I watched, and there was only like 10 minutes left until I usually went to bed. And I'm like, I don't think I can fucking stop. Like, I gotta finish this out. And I just like watched the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just fucking like dead the next day, partially emotionally.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah,
man.
It was a lot.
Like, I mean, that was brutal enough for me where I was like not that invested.
Yeah, no,
but
I was.
If you were invested in that, it's like, man, what a fucking.
Yeah, I was pretty.
What an ending.
I was pretty invested.
I mean, when the demon world comes about, that is cool shit. That is like, why didn't this happen like halfway through the series? Why wasn't like the first half the military stuff and the second half demon stuff? Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, let's establish all these boss characters that you just not, there's no time. It's like, here are the Dark Masters. Oh, show's over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, I mean, there's not a terrible lot to say, I think, except for like the final event, but I don't know.
I will also say I
Just
think that the way it's structured with the last 2 episodes being so fucking crazy is can be partly traced back to Neon Genesis Evangelion, which is like one of the most influential anime and it's like every anime that does the crazy shit happens in the last 2 episodes can be traced back to that in a pretty
okay.
much direct line.
Did not know.
Yeah, that's like the like there are still anime coming out to this day that are just rip-offs of that. So
Yeah. That I knew.
that's that one is that one's pretty influential, and has giant faces in the ground and giant naked lady coming up, like that all is all there. Nightmare, the world ending, more like internal philosophical existential nightmare stuff, like that's all that was very influential in that thing happening. So I feel like part of the reason this ends up structured the way it is because of that, because that was a popular show that just did that.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha.
That way.
So,
Which I don't think is to this material's credit. I think this material could have been adapted in a different structure that would have worked better.
yeah. I mean, they would have, yeah, just, so basically you wish they would have done probably any other arc from the manga. It's like, that's the only way to end this one without going more into, like, either that or just continue the anime is the alternative.
Well, or just come up with an ending. I don't like
just redo it.
Go read the manga ending of it. I get why they would do that for a business reason, but
well, yeah.
But like the movie Akira adapts literally just the first half of that manga and then cobbles together an ending that's kind of like the ending you eventually get, but happening at this point and much more brief, and cuts out a bunch of stuff and stuff that, like, just like, what if the story just ended here? You could also do something like that of, say, cobble together an ending. Do something that's different from how the manga goes, but just gets at the core idea and ends it here, rather than just, oh, then she got raped and then it ends.
I'm gonna pitch an ending to you right here, right now.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts? Okay. At first I was like, what if we take off the first episode? But no. Actually, we're gonna leave the first episode as is. And I mean, maybe change stuff to coincide with the 26th episode that I'm going to add, where it's just like, it does another time skip or whatever, and we get like Guts as the black swordsman, like one hand, one eye, giant fucking sword, whole 9 yards. And we do almost kind of a I don't know what the whole episode would be, but then it ends on like sort of a space cowboy thing where it's like they're about to fucking fight, and it's like maybe it doesn't matter, but you just know that at least the bad guy's gonna die. Maybe they both do, doesn't matter. You do something like that. I could get down for that.
Yeah, it only would have taken one extra episode to do it that way.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Instead, honestly, and a lot of anime are 26 episodes. Like, I feel like that's a number that's more...
oh, no, for sure.
It happens more often than 25, so that's also...
Yeah.
That was a weird thing.
Instead, we get a really ending.
No.
And for those
tasteful is not the word.
For those not
100%.
Me and Peter were discussing Berserk, and he was giving me a lot of shit because of this rape scene and how I always shit on anime, and especially anime that gets like rapey, like Food Wars, when the chick is getting violated by peanut butter and it's all tentacly.
That's a metaphor.
I'm like, this is garbage. Okay, they didn't need to show the metaphor. She could have just said like something instead of having us watch it.
Metaphorically of how she felt in her mouth.
It feels like this peanut butter dish is violating me in my mouth.
Yes.
She could have said that instead of us getting the scene, but I digress. So we were having a little friendly debate argument about this, and in my panic to phrase what was in my head, I decided to say that the rape scene with Casca was tasteful.
That's a poor choice on your part.
What I meant was that it's not just there to serve as, fan service, tentacle porn, bullshit-esque stuff.
Except to the extent to which so much of this is like misery porn.
I mean, I guess.
It's just like so miserable. You feel like just that like why is the creator so into like this is the thing he's chosen to do. Like he has to be into it at some level.
Because Griffith is, he's a piece of shit. He's driving it home way too far? Absolutely. But he's doing it.
Yeah.
They're actually, I don't know. I guess in this last bit, I did want to talk about just some stuff in the manga, especially with some stuff that you mentioned. So in the manga, they recall there's like 1 or 2 scenes in particular that I can think of where it's, it's after the fact, however long, and got to see some shit going down that, like, nothing actually happens, but it's circumstances, like, in particular, a girl getting attacked, and, like, there's this demon, and he has, like, a flashback to Casca at the end of the anime, and, like, he just fucks this stuff up. And it's great. Like, he just goes ape shit. And there's a lot of dead demons. And that's a good, it's a good bit. Apparently, in the newest anime version, they call back to it so many times. Like, once or twice per episode, they, like, flash back to the scene. And it's like, what are you doing? Nobody wanted to see it the first time. And now we're fucking here every episode. And I'm like, it's not this way at all. It's not supposed to be like this. It's, ugh. So.
See, now those are people who are into it.
Yeah,
Who
no.
made those choices.
Yeah, no, it's too much.
Okay.
There is one addition to the manga that they kept.
So I read There's one thing I have to ask you about, because I remember I read just the first chapter of the manga once. Forget. I think it's for something I was like trying to egg troll you on Twitter. Was basically the reason I did
Sounds
it.
about right.
There was like a fairy.
Yep.
In that first, and then that wasn't in this at all.
No, they just took him out.
Okay.
He's he's just like non-essential to this arc because he didn't really exist ever.
Okay, but he was in that. Yeah, he was in the first story, which is basically the first episode. So that was weird.
Well, yeah, I think they left him out because again, there's like more stuff in the manga that happens before this arc, and they probably didn't want to just put him in for one episode because why bother when you're not gonna get to him anyway.
I mean, they put in the Snake Man.
Yeah, but that was like the cool shit that he had to kill.
The cool shit. Cool.
Like, he wasn't a little... Actually, that fairy in the manga is largely like comedic relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is something this show didn't have.
It did not.
So the other thing that this show in particular reminded me of is a different fantasy. It's another fantasy show that's basically dramatic and tragic, and has it's like dirt poor animation.
Hell yeah.
But it's called Violinist of Hamel.
Okay.
And the funny thing about that is just that it is based on a manga that was largely comedic and has these ridiculous the characters have these ridiculous costumes. They're like fun, but because the budget was so low for the anime, they were like, "Yeah, we're just gonna make it a serious drama where it's very sad, but all these characters will still have all these same character designs."
Oh my god, that sounds fantastic. So it's It's like if fucking Griffith was like wearing some ridiculous get up while going full evil. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, the kind of main conceit is that the main character turns into a demon.
All right. Okay.
And he plays a violin.
Yeah.
Devil violin.
All
the characters are named after musical instruments.
Okay.
There's guitar is like my favorite.
Just guitar.
That's his name, yeah. Guitar.
All right. Why not?
He's a dog man.
Yeah.
He's like a bad guy, but he has a noble death. It's good stuff.
If you're half dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you're in the JoJo anime. That dude fucking hates dogs. He hates dogs, man. But yeah, no, there is one scene from the manga when you were talking about like how like all this stuff with like sexual violence like irks you. So I think I'm pretty sure
Although I do find the part in the manga where he's just fucking a demon kind of hilarious.
Yeah, that's just how it starts out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, if you know she's a demon, then there's it's all consensual.
It's all consensual.
But
yeah, exactly.
no, Guts gets it. Like, that's part of the thing. When he's a kid, his mentor like rents him to somebody for like 3 silver pieces. And that's a whole.
That makes sense because I felt like that is the kind of thing the story would do, but I also felt like the people making this show would be cool with doing that. No, it's with the way their attitude is about stuff. Whereas I feel like with the manga, he was probably more just fair game everything.
Yeah. I forget. Did you get to the point in the manga where they show like where Guts was born, like how that group found him?
If I did, I don't remember at all.
Yeah, so it's like I don't know if it counts as like I wouldn't consider it sexual violence, but it's like gruesome as fuck. Like
they mention it in the anime. They just mention it that he was born in a dead body.
Oh yeah, like his mom was hung from a tree or whatever, and he's born, and they find him under all these corpses. Yeah,
they're not specific about it in the anime. They just mention that he was found in a he was born in a dead body, and that's why he's bad luck.
Yeah, he's like cursed or whatever. So there's that. Also, it's really and this is probably like the saddest part is that we don't get any of like the super badass stuff that makes the manga great, as you have also said. So there's a period like when he's the black swordsman and he has all that shit. There's like a period before that where he's like he comes back to that swordsmith like it's not often, but like he gets there once in a while. And he's like, yo, I'm going to be hunting demons. Like, this sword is shit. I need, like, this sword to end all swords. The blacksmith is like, I got you. And he makes him this dope sword, and it's really big, and it's really strong. He's like, this is the best sword I've ever made, blah, blah, blah. A demon attacks him, like, right there. Sword fucking breaks. And Guts is like, yo, for real, though? Like, you said this was, what shit is this? He comes out of the hut with this fucking black sword that's, like, twice his height and, like, super thick and just fucking crushes the demon. And you're like, this is the good shit. And then you get, like, this backstory, and the blacksmith is like, I made that as, like, a joke. Like, some asshole noble wanted a sword that could kill a dragon, so I made him this thing because no one can fucking lift it. What the hell are you doing? And he's like, yeah, it's perfect, thanks. And just like goes off like top tier.
See, that's the kind of stuff I think Berserk is good at.
Yeah, when he's killing shit, there's
a part in the anime when he's I think it's at the desert attack. But Guts' sword breaks in the battle, and then some fucking asshole on a hill throws a random sword at him, and I don't know who threw that.
That's Zod. That's like the demon, the only other demon that appears.
Yeah. Okay. I thought. Oh yeah. So because he was doing demon stuff, I thought it was Zod. But like, why? It's never. I don't know. Like, why does Zod throw that sword and he never uses that sword again? I don't understand what happened there. Why did that happen?
Maybe they might address it more in the manga, but it's such a small point that like I've forgotten.
I don't know even why
Maybe
it's like it's in there, because then
maybe
Guts
it's
is just
Zod's
using
sword.
the same sword again,
maybe
even though
it's
like he
Zod's
has the
sword.
hilt for the old one still around. I don't.
You know, like if it's
But if
Zod's
it's a
sword, he
demon's
just leaves
sword,
but he just leaves it there. Like he was borrowing,
Oh.
not like you could use it but give it back.
he takes it inside the castle.
Well, maybe he like left it on the roof. Just, like hucks it up there. Like, gotcha.
Why did Zod never come back? Why did we never get any more of that? I mean, I know why, because it's a long-running manga that has lots of other stories to tell.
There is a great part, and not a great part, but like just a great occurrence. At one point, like there's a lot of, like obviously just with like the hand of God and stuff, there's like some religious stuff going on, and they get a little bit more into all of this. And apparently at one point, like there's a full, I think it's a full volume. Yeah, I think maybe, I forget if it's a chapter or volume. There's a fair bit where God himself is like doing stuff or like talking or whatever. And the creator like retconned it and he's like, it's not canon anymore. It you know, maybe God shouldn't be a part of this like literally telling people stuff or whatever.
Had a change of heart.
Yeah, he like did it up and then went to press and he's like, yeah. But
What if no, though?
what if no?
I wish that had happened a couple more times.
Also,
This anime. What if no?
we're finally on the other side because I'm gonna be maybe you know this, but I'm gonna be straight. Casca is like a potato for like a long chunk of the manga. Like they're finally addressing it, and there's gonna be more stuff, but like that's a long, it's a long fucking point in time.
Fucking time
Yeah,
for a thing that shouldn't have happened in the first place.
but
Not okay.
there's like other stuff that like makes up for it, but at the same time you're like, seriously though, like can we like be done with this? Actually, someone. Okay, so there's a subreddit called Berserk Jerk, and I never knew it existed until like the other week, and it's like fucking amazing. And someone wrote out a whole thing like, yeah, the last chapter of the manga is probably going to be like Griffith and Guts about to face off in this area where they're at right now, where like Guts and his buds are at right now, and they're gonna get right into the final battle. And it's gonna get right down to it, and like Griffith is gonna be like right on the edge of death or something, and he's gonna look at Guts and just go like, punked. And then the camera crew is gonna fucking come out, and everyone's like, all the other people that he thought were slaughtered by demons are gonna like pop out of the bushes and start laughing, and just, you know, perfect ending. It was a prank, bro. Yeah. 10 out of 10.
It's gonna
But no,
end
the
with Griffith saying to Guts, "I always loved you," and then them kissing and living happily together forever, happily ever after.
they like they're fighting, and they like, you know, they get to the point where like their swords both break or some bullshit, and so they're like wrestling, and they end up near like a bit of water, and like Griffith like splashes Guts.
Yep.
And then it just devolves into like the most lewd yaoi that you could possibly imagine.
I mean,
Just full on.
it's like not. The show is so close to it. Was so close to it anyway. It's fine. It's not actually. It's almost text.
Yeah.
I think it is text on Griffith's side even. But there's just too much rape in their way.
Yeah, no,
Too much rape holding them apart.
There's a lot of stuff. There's like some other stuff that's like, I don't know, there's some weird sexual stuff, but it's not like sexual violence. It's like repressed religion sexuality.
That makes sense.
Like that's a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, turns out what is it? Is it flagellation? How did flagellation? Flagellation. They play on that a bit.
Great. Fun.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Fun times. But she develops as a character too. There's a lot of character development in the like.
I mean, I would hope so in a manga that's been going for fucking ever.
Yeah.
Like, gotta get to character stuff eventually.
I mean, my problem
It's
is
just
that well, it's kind of scary because I had Guts outright say like, I was so hesitant to start thinking of you guys as people that I could trust and like friends or whatever, but here I am, blah blah. And I'm like, oh, they're gonna die. They're all gonna fucking eat it.
They're all dead.
Yeah.
It annoys me the way the structure of the show that we get a 3-year time gap where no character development happened at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like that when Keska's like having her like explaining stuff to Guts, it's like, have you guys known each other for 3 years and never had a conversation that wasn't just Keska yelling at you?
Maybe not, dude.
I think just not. And that's like a bummer.
I mean, that happens. There's people at the factory that I've known for 3 years, and conversations are largely, eye rolling and get the fuck out of my life. It happens. Sometimes, man, they don't have to be friends. They're just coworkers.
Yeah.
Mercenary life. Yeah,
It's
an anime. So,
Yeah. My problem is I wouldn't have finished it and gotten to the visual stuff I really liked. I would have dropped it if I had just been watching on my own.
Oh, like on your own? Okay.
Yeah. Like around episode 11 or 12, probably.
Okay.
I would have been done.
And that's fair.
It just would have been too much for me.
Yeah.
Again, because I really like fake violence, but I like it because it's cathartic, and this was very often definitely not doing that. That's not what it's going for.
And see, part of the problem is when it's just regular violence, it's pretty fucking over the top. But then whenever it comes to something like sexual, it's pretty not far fetched.
Yeah, no,
at all.
Too real.
Yeah, that is fair.
Just I don't want this. It's I don't need to be watching. I could watch something else.
Yeah,
I could spend my time some other way.
I guess as kind of a closing statement, having freshly watched it for the first time, what would you say to people who are on the fence or curious about it?
I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. I just wouldn't. Okay. Partially because of how it ends. It's it's not.
Fair. Yep. Meanwhile,
I would say look up drawings, look up maybe screens or pictures from the manga, maybe, because there's cool stuff. But as a story, it doesn't work for me.
On the flip side, I talked it up to Peter a whole lot, and he got invested and did the exact same thing I did. But the fun part was that I was on chat with him while he fucking got his soul crushed. Great experience. I highly recommend destroying a friend's soul if you get the chance.
Look, there are anime I really like that will crush your soul. I feel like the payoff is more worth it.
Yup.
Like FMA. FMA has some brutal moments, but ultimately it's not that brutal.
Yeah.
But it has its moments.
Damn.
One in particular. Goddamn.
There's one little moment. But on the flip side, it got me into the manga, which I'm happy about. Mm-hmm. So it's nice to have one manga.
Fair enough.
Because fuck knows the Shaman King one wasn't worth it. That was a lot of bullshit.
You should read Akira.
Without knowing what it's about, I'm gonna just go to my default position. Probably not, but I'm also open to it.
Do you like cyberpunk future bleak stuff?
Yes.
Motorcycles?
Oh,
Psychic
it's that one.
powers? Body horror?
Not body horror so much. That shit gets me. In one of not well, I guess not super early, but compared to how long it's going now, one of the earlier parts of JoJo, some guy like half penetrates the skin of somebody else on like his neck, but just with like his fingers, and he doesn't have nails either, so it's just like pressing in and like gets under the skin. I can't. I physically have to look away when that happens. Like I can't do it.
I mean, the one part of Berserk that kind of got under my skin was when Griffith like starts clawing at his own.
Yeah, no.
Arms.
I actually have like my biggest fucking tell if like people were to ever pay attention. Like as soon as that shit starts happening, even just like now, like when we're mentioning it, I'm like envisioning it. I have to like start scratching my wrists, like itching them, and like stretching out my hands.
Yeah.
Like I can't do it. It's like a fucking not even a nervous tick, but like an uncomfortable urge. Now, but yeah, Berserk is
Actually
like bazonk.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Probably just watch the Akira movie because that's a shorter time investment.
I think that
Even-
might be on my list somewhere. Just because it's so
Yeah.
like
It's so
even
well
I,
known
even I
because
can
it's like
fucking picture it, and I've never like known the
Yeah,
name of it.
'cause
But as
it's,
soon as you said motorcycle, I'm like, oh hey,
Yeah. And that's one of the best animated. Like just the animation is really great.
okay.
It's a sweet thing. But yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
I thought I would like it more than I did. I'm kind of disappointed, honestly.
Yeah.
I would say is how I feel.
But hey, maybe you'll
got
like
somewhere.
Mushishi more than you think you will now. Who knows?
Oh, I'm really afraid I'm just gonna find that incredibly boring.
And I will be like, yeah, that's about right. That's like my big thing with it is like, I don't know. I was trying to convince Ty to watch it, and he finally like, because he's seen every other friggin' anime on the planet.
Yeah.
And he's watching. He's like, yeah, it's boring, dude. I'm like, I have nothing to say to that. Like, it's inarguable. But whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People have different tastes. It happens.
It's crazy.
Also, there's a part in Berserk where Guts is giving his emotional speech about, like, and the camera just pans right across Casca's butt. It's like in the middle of his emotional moment, and it's just like, yeah, but what if we looked at this?
Yeah, but what if there was an ass to pan over?
But what if there was an ass?
Yeah.
It's the moral of the story.
Yeah. That seems like that's
His
there
name
we
was
go.
Corcus.
We needed Oh. We had to keep going. Yeah, no, we had to keep going until we like found the perfect note to end on, and we just hit it.
Yeah.
We got Casca butt and Corcus is an ass.
Yes. You can email us at saltcirclepodcast@gmail.com. Find us on soundcloud.com/saltcircle. On Twitter @saltcirclepod. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcast, Salt Circle Podcast. And you can find me on Twitter @comicpanels.
And I am on Twitter @bean_LP. Don't read Shaman
Thoughts?
King. Don't
I wasn't
don't
going
read
to.
it. Nobody else should either. It's terrible.